Round 16 of the under-18s kicked off on Friday night when the Redlegs took on Sturt at Norwood Oval. Captain Matt Hallandale continued his good work for Norwood with another Best on Ground nomination. He used the ball well at the stoppages, keeping the Redlegs in the game. He made 7 of his 12 tackles in the first half. In the second half, Matt played a strong attacking role, kicking a goal late in the third. In defence, the Redlegs had the talents of Dylan Orcello. Dylan played full back and kept the Double Blues at bay by intercepting the ball and making some good spoils. From Athelston, half-forward flanker Josh Chanella played well for Norwood in the tough conditions. He scored 2 goals, with one in the first quarter from a Matt Hallandale pass and another in the third after running through traffic and dodging players. It was a stop-start game, and Anthony Giannini, who'd returned after a week off for university exams, was effective at the breakdowns. He extracted the ball and ran with it to move play forward for the Redlegs. Anthony spent most of this season in the reserves and has been playing at the club since he was 13. In his first game for the Double Blues, Sam Ferraro was named Best on Ground. At 196 centimetres tall, Sam played well in the centre in the heavy conditions and made a big impact with his 35 hitouts. The 18-year-old trained with Sturt during the pre-season, but went back to play with his local club at the start of the year. Sam was named Best and Fairest in the Adelaide Hills competition last season. From Unley High, Henry Carey is a reliable player with good skills. On Friday night, the 17-year-old played as a half-forward follower for Sturt, demonstrating good vision and balance throughout the game. Tom Campbell also put in a solid performance for the Double Blues. The 18-year-old defender's from Mount Barker and continues to improve every week. Best on ground for Sturt was Levi Elms, and Jared Dooney also had another good game. The Double Blues ran 2 extra defenders to combat the Redlegs' attack. They had a good first half to lead by 10 points at the long break, but they were kept scoreless in the third quarter, and in the end it was Norwood by 18 points. In blustery conditions at Alberton, Port Adelaide took on the Roosters. The ground was wet in patches and the players had to work hard for every goal. Best on ground for North Adelaide was forward Harrison Viney. Viney kicked a bag of 5 goals 2 for the match, 2 in the second quarter, 1 in the third and another 2 goals in the final term. It's his second year in the under-18s. Last season he played 1 game but spent most of his time with the under-16s. First gamer for North Adelaide, Ryan Burton, played in the midfield. He had a total of 19 disposals and 10 marks. At the start of the third quarter, Jack Turnbull got the clearance out of the centre and took the ball inside 50. He gave it off to Viney, who hand-passed to Callum Wilkie. Ryan then took an uncontested mark and kicked his first goal for the competition. Bottom ager Harrison Slee played in the under-16s in 2011 and 2012 for the Roosters. In his first season for the under-18s, he's played 5 games. On Saturday, he had 16 disposals and scored a goal early in the fourth quarter. For the Magpies, Tom Gray was named Best on Ground. Tom played in the centre and had 24 disposals for the match. He trained with the under-18s during the pre-season, but then injured his knee and was out for 4 weeks. He came back to play reserves, and last week was his first game back for the 18s. Matthew Reid's an overager who's regularly listed in the best players for the Magpies. Matt was acting captain on the weekend and started the game in the midfield. He then moved down to the back line during the third quarter, putting his leadership skills to good use. Matt's played 1 game in the reserves. Starting in the back line for the Magpies was 17-year-old Jack Cooper. He was moved forward in the second half and scored a goal. The bottom ager is a local from Port Districts. Scores were level at the end of the first quarter, but the Roosters took control after the break. They won by a convincing 41 points. Glenelg was in hot form at home on Saturday in their first win for 5 weeks. They thrashed a lacklustre Panthers outfit, keeping them goalless for the whole game. In recent weeks, the Tigers haven't been able to put together a solid 4-quarter effort. The focus this week was to attack the game with a positive attitude and a tough work rate, both individually and as a team. Best on ground for the Tigers was Lucas Kanga. Lucas took on the midfield with his determination and drive forward to create opportunities on goal. He dominated clearances and stoppages through the middle of the ground. Lucas had a total of 36 disposals, 6 tackles and 13 clearances. He scored a goal late in the first quarter. Topping the goal-kicking tally for round 16 was Hamish Gordon with 7 goals won. The Tigers' small half-forwards from Millicent and got a late call-up after training on Thursday night. During Saturday's game, he only had 16 disposals, but he put them to good use. Hamish had a blinder of a second quarter, kicking 4 goals. He went on to kick 3 more. Another goal-kicking machine for the Tigers on Saturday was Elliot Chalmers. Playing deep forward, Elliot kicked an impressive 5 goals 4. He was outstanding in his clearance work and smart upfield. He's from Sacred Heart College. The conditions suited the smaller players who were moved up forward to capitalise on opportunities. Tigers coach Adam Blakely says it was hard to pick the best players because there were no passengers on the day. It was a good overall team performance. Unfortunately for the Panthers, it was just the opposite. There were no accolades and it was a very ordinary effort from the players. They were kept scoreless in the first and third quarters and finished with a meagre 3 points for the game. It was the Tigers by 171. Central District took on the Eagles at home on a wet and boggy oval. The contest was even in the first quarter, but after the break the Eagles kicked away. Best on ground for the Eagles was Tom Whittlesey. The overager played a strong game up forward for 3 quarters. Midway through the second, he took a good contested mark off a pass from Riley Knight to kick the first of his 2 goals. Tom swapped positions with Cameron Giles in the final quarter and went to centre-half back, where he also played well. The change suited Cameron too. He took some good contested marks and kicked a goal. On-baller Riley Knight has just come back from competing in the Under-18 National Championships. Next week he'll go back to play college football at St Peter's for a month, but in round 16 he put in a solid effort for the Eagles. The 18-year-old is from Clare and has a high work rate. He scored a 15.6 on his beep test. Albert Dunstan has played half this season in the reserves and half in the under-18s. On Saturday, in his role at centre-half back, Albert was unlucky not to be named best player. He's very fit and leads up the ground. It was only 3 minutes into the game when Albert scored the first major for the Eagles. He kicked 3 during the match and had a total of 31 disposals. From Ardrossan, Sam Rhodes is in his second year for the under-18s. Sam's a versatile player who's had a run up forward and also in the midfield. On the weekend, he made his mark at half-back. He's a quick player who provides the Eagles with run from defence. For the Bulldogs, Bradley Bain was best on ground and was also nominated the Maccas Cup MVP for round 16. Bradley trained with the seniors pre-season and last week was his first game back from a quad injury. The 18-year-old from the Barossa zone played in the centre and showed good leadership. Brad had 40 disposals and 12 marks and was also good defensively with 10 strong tackles. On the half-back flank, Josh Russo played defensive man-on-man footy but also offered options in attack for the Bulldogs. Josh is a second-year under-18 from the Metro zone. He had some time off earlier in the season, but since his return in round 14, he's played well every week. Playing on the other half-back flank for the Bulldogs was Isaiah McKenzie. He's a quick player who offers some real attacking run out of defence and his skill level is improving each week. Isaiah also competed strongly in the Under-16 National Carnival recently. Central District were good in patches but couldn't sustain the effort for 4 quarters. It was the Eagles who ran out winners by 42 points.